Salam alaikum.
I've heard of gold going to a man's head, but this...
Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. Kind of like a special edition with everything that's going on with the writer's strike and the actor's strike. We have interviews in the pipeline with people that are actors that they can't, just with the rules that SAG's having right now, they want to tell a lot of the great stories from their career, and they want to hold off, which is great for us because we want to hear all the great stories from their career. We have some people behind the scenes that we'll be talking to in the next month or two, so that'll be fun. But like me and Jamie talked about, this gives us an opportunity to cover movies that I bet if we looked at the IMDb of this week's special sequel, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, I would guess not many people are alive from it. Just given the fact, I know Carolyn Monroe's alive, but I think Sinbad's dead. I know of the main people, like most of them are dead. So it just gives us the opportunity to cover a movie that's from the early 70s. And that really is part of cinematic history. It's one of Tim Burton's favorite films. So it would be a lot to discuss the awesomeness of this movie. And then also like thinking about why nowadays we don't have the attention span. Some things that take so long to do or repetitive. But I don't want to talk anything about Sinbad without my partner in this sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Doug. How are you doing?
I am feeling amazing too. Like this movie, like I know this one I've seen the clips from the stop motion because I don't know if I've ever talked about this before. I'm a huge stop motion fan. Obviously nothing to this extent, more like just clay and creating creatures that move. Nothing like crazy, something I could shoot in one night. So obviously these take months to probably shoot one of these scenes, because the intricacies and the way they look. But I've always loved it. So I've seen a lot of clips from this one before. And wow, just it's unreal how real it looks. Really.
So when I mentioned this movie, I thought it was another Sinbad movie.
No, you thought something else was something.
I know it's strange. I know it never happens. But yes, I was thinking of the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. I saw so many times as a kid. And I'm glad it wasn't, because I never saw this one. And this movie's awesome. And for the time that it came out in the 70s, it looks fantastic. I mean, the creatures and the monsters are just the set pieces. Everything is really, I feel like they're ahead of their time. I mean, it really looks it looks so good that I did go back and watch the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad as well. And that one's awesome too. I mean, if you haven't seen any of them, watch them, because I mean, I know it's a trilogy. The third one is, I think, The Eye of the Tiger. And I never saw that one, but that
is the third one? Wait, so what's the first one is the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad?
The first one is the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, then the Gold. Yes, this one, and then it's The Eye of the Tiger. And I think it might be a different Sinbad each movie.
I know. I was going to mention that they said it's the wildest trilogy in movie history, because you took out, again, we could talk about obviously like the whitewashing of the roles, because like the main guy was in Barbarella with Jane Fonda, like she recruited him to be in that movie. And then the guy who plays, I never watched Doctor Who, but the guy who plays, what's that guy's name? Kotu, the bad guy. He is Doctor Who. So
really,
like,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I never watched.
He's
Doctor
a white
Who.
guy. Yeah, everybody in this are white guys for the most part, except the Iron Sheik, Sheik that we see.
Correct. And I feel like in these kind of movies, the opposite is true for the 80s rule. I feel like in the pirate, I don't know if it's the 70s movies or pirate movies in the 70s, but there's a lot of like chest hair and men, baring their chests.
Yes. I wish Carolyn Monroe bared her chest. I love her, man. She Bond girl, and she still looks great. She's
let me tell you, I don't know if you remember the princess in the first movie. But I don't know. She's pretty awesome also. Listen, it's Sinbad. He's going to have a good-looking girl somehow in his movie. I mean, this girl is literally the girl of his dreams.
the dream sequence. Yeah, let's start talking about the movie. And there's a lot of things that I'm sure whenever things happen in movies and then you see them in a movie that came out 10 years later and then 10 years later, like obviously most films, there's things that are borrowed from other ones, but there are a lot of things borrowed that a few years later show up in Star Wars.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. Know what you're talking about, but I'm sure.
Well, the dream sequence. When he has the amulet on his chest, and he sees her. Obviously, it's not the same because it's coming out of R2-D2, but it was kind of like that same vibe because nobody sort of believed him. Just like nobody believed Luke until they actually got the R2-D2 to work, Obi-Wan. But
no, you're right. You're right. And something that really popped in my head when I was watching this, and now I look at movies in a different way. So maybe part of it is because I did watch the first Sinbad also, but I almost feel like the pirates are the bad guys and the monsters are the good guys, because the pirates are technically invading their homes.
Yeah.
And the way the creatures are, like the Minotaur and everything, like I actually felt bad when he died. Like, I mean, again, we're at his house, his gold, and we're literally like, I mean, like, so if you flip the script, it's like really the pirates are the bad guys and these monsters are trying to live a peaceful life.
That is true. It's like gentrification. There we go. These pirates are going in. They're like, you know what? I really need this other piece of this thing. I'm gonna have to kill you for it. Like that's why I'm here.
Because you know what? I mean, we don't know for sure if the Minotaur is a peaceful thing. I mean, first of all, there's more than one, right? Because I think there's two of them that died. I think there was, or unless the same one came back.
No, it's the same one that comes back. No, that last scene. But no, what's his name says, God, what the hell's his name? I wrote it there. Korra, that's his name. So Korra, the bad guy, he says, no joke, I'm going to say it, and I know right away, you're going to say, wow, if this movie was made today and you can cast it, dude, John Turturro. That guy looks dude, it's not even like when I saw him for the first time, because you only see him in the dream sequences, but when you see his full face for the first time, you're like, holy shit. But no, like him, he says like, oh, this is the battle of good and evil. Like that's what he proclaimed. Because he was calling himself good. Like he believed he was good. So he was calling the Minotaur evil. I don't know. So it's like
that's
opposite because he thought he was good.
Yeah, well, I mean, but I think also, you watch a movie like this. I mean, it had comedy, it had action. Why aren't there more pirate movies? Like, why? I mean, I think pirates lived a great life. I mean, it was all about adventure, gold, and I'm surprised seriously that Hollywood does not make enough pirate movies. I mean, unless what's the movie that is noted as the worst movie of all time? Bomb.
Waterworld? Is that a pirate?
No. Gina Davis. Cutthroat Island.
Cutthroat. Wow. Yeah.
And that was known as like a huge box office bomb. It had Matthew Modine, I think, and Gina Davis. So maybe that's why, after that bomb, they're like, all right, you know what? Pirate movies just aren't for Hollywood.
Well, then they did Pirates of the Caribbean. Those movies are so good. So maybe it's like one of those, we're not going to have the budget to make a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. But no, that would be cool to have like a Pirates movie. Because, it is a cool genre.
It really is.
Just explorers. I just love explorer. Give me a million National Treasure movies. Like Nick Cage is doing every movie. Like there's a movie that's coming out that he is a fat slob.
I saw the trailer.
And everybody is in love with
dreaming
him
about
something.
him. Yeah, they're all dreaming about him. But I got to be honest with you. I mean, even though it has nothing to do with this movie, the trailer actually, Nicolas Cage actually looks like he's doing a good acting job in the trailer.
I think he's always giving 100%, whether it's his crazy side. But I think it'd be great to see another national. He's so good in that role.
Oh, I think they are making another national one.
Well, it's been in the works for a while, and then it got scrapped, and they made the series, which was intended for like a younger audience, which I kind of enjoyed. I like Catherine Zeta-Jones as the villain in it, but nothing beats those first two movies.
No, I agree. All right, so I'll tell you right now, right off the bat with this movie, it wastes no time getting into
You
action.
see it. You see. Well, not even that. You see the credits within
Yeah,
like 5
I mean,
seconds.
but I mean, the movie just starts. Right on the ship. A lot of action. You got the flying bat thing, which looked really cool.
Oh, dude. At first, it's cool. For a while, when you first see it, because you don't get that up close shot until it gets really close to Korra. But the first time we see it, you're like, oh, it's just a bat. But when you see it up close, it's really cool because it's like a gargoyle.
It's a gargoyle.
Like it has,
it's like a miniature gargoyle, and like it has personality and everything. I mean, like it was. You're right. And the only thing I had a problem with is why did he drop the amulet there?
It's a great question.
Like I almost feel like, again, he's working for the bad guy, and so he was supposed to get the amulet, but you're gonna tell me he just happened to drop? Like, did he drop it on purpose?
So I was thinking about this, and I wrote this down. So it's funny because I think obviously he dropped it on purpose, but Korra plays it off as he didn't because he was kind of pissed at him.
Correct.
But then you think about it, Sinbad's like the greatest adventurer pirate, right? Treasure hunter. So he probably purposely, even though Korra has like those magical powers, he dropped it there probably to just follow him.
So no, yeah, but okay, but that makes no sense because to me he controls the gargoyle, right? He sees and hears what the gargoyle sees, and he controls the gargoyle. You're gonna tell me with all these powers he can't find the other amulet himself? He needs Sinbad.
Well, it seems like he can't because he has to turn the mast of the ship, the wooden woman, into stealing the map, which the map, I guess, is waterproof.
Okay. Not only waterproof, first of all, okay, that wooden woman that comes alive was insane.
Oh,
that
dude, it looked
so
insane.
So, but why wouldn't they? I mean, I did they try to beat it with fire? Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and they use fire on it and everything.
Okay.
Because I was thinking, like, how's this thing gonna die? Like, it's almost impossible for this creature to die. Even later in the movie, another creature, I'm like, this thing's not gonna die. There's only one way it can die, and I'm like, oh, and it freaking fell for it. It went up the stairs.
Well, that other creature was pretty insane. But I do have a question with that one when we get there. So we'll get there. Okay.
But I don't know if I mentioned this a little bit either before we started recording and right in my little intro. But Tim Burton, this is like one of his favorite movies ever, and Ray Harryhausen, who does a stop motion, he's like the father of stop motion animation, and it's so crazy. Like even Tim Burton says it. Like he was still animating until he died. I think he died in 2013, like something wild. But he was like still doing it, but not in the scale of like in movies. He was like doing like little cartoons and things like that. After Clash of the Titans in '81, he stopped doing it.
I was going to ask you. So did he have a piece of Clash of the Titans, the original Clash of the Titans? Okay, because I mean it's very similar. Well, which 1981,
80? Oh yeah, no, he worked on that one. Yeah.
What Mark Hamill, or whatever his name is. Hamilton or something like that, or
I know you're talking about, yeah.
So because I mean, again, that's another movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but from what I remember, again, that's another movie that was way ahead of its time, and it was incredible.
Yeah, the skeleton fight scene is something that.
Well, there's a skeleton fight scene also in the 7th Voyage of Sinbad.
Oh, it is okay. Cool. Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
of.
The skeleton jumps off of the wall.
Good.
It really does, and there's a difference between CGI and the stop motion, right? And to me, sometimes the stop motion almost looks better because it almost feels like you see the creature there. Then CGI could come across a little bit more cartoony. But like this was, I mean, again, I don't know how long it took to make this movie, but I thought the stop motion was honestly incredible. Like incredible.
Well, I can like nerd out a little bit. So obviously there's 24 frames in a second. Nerd. So, and I'm sure they did that because that's how smooth it looked. And I think that's the coolest thing about stop motion versus CGI, to like piggyback on what you said, is like CGI, it's like, in your head, like this is made in a computer. Like even like the greatest stuff in Terminator 2 and so many movies, it's not really there. And even though the stop motion is like superimposed into the film, it just, I don't know. When you see the gargoyle's wings and you see like just within the wings, like the skin within like the folds or whatever, you like see that move with like the wind. It just looks like so good.
Well, how about the fact that, with CGI, you obviously have someone wearing a green suit or whatever, and so you're interacting with that person. Here, they're not interacting really with anything with stop motion. And that scene when they're fighting that creature in the dungeon, that have multiple people fighting the same thing without anything being there, and it looked perfect. Like every swing of the sword and everything, like it really, like, again, incredible. I think the guy's a genius because it really looked incredible, and especially considering it was 40 years ago, it just looked great.
Yeah, well, this movie's 50 and then
years
he
ago.
started
Okay.
doing this like 60 years ago. And
Wow.
like the cool thing that Tim Burton said is something you mentioned before. So you and Timmy B are on the same page.
Of
They're
course.
like these creatures, like he says, like the creatures showed more emotion, especially the gargoyle, than like some of the human actors, which is like so wild to think of,
Listen, I'm a big, between the Minotaur in this one and then in the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, he's got a Cyclops. Total personality. I mean, again, you feel bad. Like when they die, it's almost like they're killing off one of the main characters, and again, considering that it's stop motion and you actually can have like some kind of attachment to what you're seeing is amazing. And that just gives him credit. Like he really makes them a real character.
Yeah, no, it stinks that it's so expensive to do, like just the time that goes into it, because that's what looks best. We talked about it when we did Puppet Master.
Come on,
like,
I have had Play-Doh. I can make Play-Doh creatures too.
Do it. Me and Emerson, me and my daughter did a stop motion. I had her take her little people, like this, like 2 years ago, and put it into like a plane, and we did all the little pictures. We did like eight pictures a second, and it was so cool. Like her face watching it. Like fly, like
seeing it come alive. Seeing it come alive has got to be pretty cool.
The best.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
But yeah, yeah.
I was going to say one thing this movie does have, and I couldn't really write down a lot of I think I wrote down maybe one or two of them. They had a lot of one-liners.
Okay,
so I have one of the first ones, and he said one. I mean, I forget who says it. I just wrote down it because the movie was just moving, and sometimes you had to catch it. But I wrote down, "He who walks on fire will burn his feet."
That one was good, but my favorite one was, "I've heard gold going to a man's head, but this," when they talk about Metal Man, when Metal Man shows up.
I have one. Don't throw stones in the well if you drink from it.
That's good.
I mean, it's just funny. Again, the one-liners were so like almost like proper. Like, they were like Confucius says, and had these one-liners that just, it's just so funny.
No, two of his like main shipmates, like his right-hand men. There was like that really big Jack guy that never wore a shirt. There was the other guy that wore like a white with like stripes.
The small guy.
Yeah. They were the ones that were like always like saying these random lines to each other.
Yeah.
But it's so good. But so there's a lot to cover. So so we mentioned like the gargoyle dropping the amulet, him picking it up. And they're like, don't put that on, because obviously if I find a gold chain on the ground or you find a gold chain, we can put it on and not have fears of something taking over our body.
Yeah, but would you put it on right away? Yeah, but
no.
I mean, you put it in your pocket. You're not gonna wear it. First of all, it was like huge bling. Like, it was like ridiculous. For that time, it didn't. First of all, it doesn't even look like a real necklace, because it literally looks like a huge medallion necklace that no one would really wear. But I think if you found it, I think you just put it in your pocket. I don't think you're gonna put it on, especially when your shipmates are telling you to throw it overboard. Like none of them want any piece of it. But Sinbad to me, without a doubt, is the bad guy. Without a doubt. Well,
he's pretty selfish. Yeah,
he's extremely selfish, and he frees a slave only to kind of use her later on. Like he was using her throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, and he never admitted it to her until, when does he finally admit to her that he saw her in a dream. Does he ever?
I don't even know if he ever even comes up.
Well, I know the Incredible Hulk people. When the Incredible Hulk people started, like when they saw her hand, the eye in her hand,
my gosh,
that we see in the next scene that we're like where we're at in the movie, like in the. Yeah.
If that's a tattoo that looked like it was just painted on, like that did not look like that looked like the worst tattoo ever. It literally looked like you went to like the state carnival, like the town carnival, and someone was like face painting and they put a little eye tattoo on your hand.
What like a silly, but yeah, I don't think he ever told her that.
He didn't. I don't think he did. No.
It didn't come up. Somebody said it later in the movie. I'm trying to think who it was. They're like, oh, they think she's a god. And then they grab her and then they go, oh no, I think they're going to sacrifice her.
So, okay. So that hand, the eyeball in the hand was a negative thing? Like,
yeah.
So that didn't help at all. Like, so really, it served no purpose at all, just to get the Incredible Hulk people mad.
Mad Hulk, man. It was so weird that they looked like the Incredible Hulk because I'm sure Chris Egan or somebody's listening to this that's a big like Marvel fan. I don't know when Incredible Hulk showed up. But I don't know if he was around in 73.
Wait, you think they look like they were all small people? They didn't look like the
Hulk. They look like Lucifer right now.
They weren't huge. They weren't huge.
No, they weren't huge, but they would look like him if he wasn't hulked up. He was green, and they had terrible wigs on.
The Jolly Green Giant is also green. Oscar the Grouch is also green.
No, I buy Jolly Green Giant. That'd be a good one. He'd be a good creature to have in a movie. Stop motion.
Yeah.
Trying to attack people. I like that. But so he puts on the amulet, he has that dream sequence, and he sees her, he sees the hand, but then we don't see who's behind her because we see that sort of like because he's wearing the hood, you only see his eyes. Right. And he's getting like larger and larger, and she like sort of screams, and she goes away. But then from there, we get a storm. There's like this huge storm. So do those two have something in common? Like, did he have his gargoyle drop that because he knew that a bad storm would happen right afterwards?
But why would he want a bad storm to come?
I don't know why, but it just makes no sense.
He is
that
in the middle of the ocean, so you're going to have a storm. I mean, isn't that where the perfect storm came? I mean, you're in the ocean. You're gonna have a storm.
Is that where that happened?
I think so. But I don't think the bad guy had. Listen, the bad guy didn't have he couldn't use his powers too much because every time he used them, he got older. Oh, so dude, yeah. I don't think he would waste his powers on a storm. Because he's already controlling the gargoyle, and he's already losing like a lot of his youth. So I don't think the storm had anything to do with it. But again, they don't explain it, so who knows?
God, would that be a great SNL sketch with like say if it's like Farley or like Dana Carvey like has a superpower and they're just wasting on bullshit. Like instead of like making a creature come alive to save your life, it's more like, man, I really don't want to get off my ass, get a beer out of the fridge. And it's like you're like getting all this stuff and you're like, you turn to an old man.
And he aged like 20 years every time he does something stupid and
totally worth it. It reminded me of Christopher Lee. Another thing that I feel like almost borrowed 5 years later in Captain America when we covered that sequel, because the way he was just like that Christopher Lee as the bad guy in that. What was his name? Wasn't it like Carlos or something weird? It was like a Spanish name for like the villain in a Captain America movie. But his name was like, I think it was like Carlos. And he wanted people to age. But in this movie, this guy's aging. But the one time he gets so old. He looks so youthful, and then he's old in a second. He does.
Well, I think it's the how strong the power that he's using. If it's like a major thing, then he'll age like 5 years. But if it's something really major, then it's like like 20 years. But so I'm curious: is there an age where it stops? Like can he like do something like a couple times and he's like 90 years old, but he still has the power? Like does he just die, or just now he's 120 and he can still
Could you imagine that he keeps going until he's like a bag of bones, and he can just keep doing it?
Yeah, what's the end? Like, is there an expiration? Like, all right, once you get to this age, it's over. It's just done.
If you had to recite like something, then I would say like then he's getting to the point that he can't talk because he's so old and he can't move. But he doesn't talk, right?
No, he doesn't.
Just think about it.
Yeah, he just thinks about it. But then also, like, if you have that power to do that, and knowing that you age every single time you do it, how do you know the one time you do it is not going to be the last time you do it?
That's true.
Like, and like, is there like I said before, is there like, all right, I know like if I just do something like a little simple, I'm only going to age like 5 years. So I'm okay if I just keep doing a couple of those. Or is it like, listen, it's all random and, you don't know when you get to that point where, you overused it. Now you're dead.
Honey, don't use your power stage. She comes back in. You're like an old man. And she's like, what are you doing? I didn't feel like getting the paper. You can't walk out. No, I don't feel like doing it. Like these little like mundane tasks, you use that and age and try to save that. No, it's oh my god, it's so silly. Like, but
yeah, but that is a trope in a lot of movies. That like the bad witch or the whatever it is that they need something young or a fountain of youth or something because every time they use their power they age. It I guess it takes so much out of them.
Yeah, no, that was a really cool thing. The way that ending scene happened and the way, I thought that was like really neat because you really thought, like watching it, I thought something else was going to happen. So we'll talk about that when we get there. Yeah. So, but Sinbad, he's just like a mortal man, right? Because he like screams, "Allah give me strength," and he's somehow steering the ship with his arm, and. In the biggest storm ever, the other guy that comes out to help has to like wrap a belt like 3 times around it to like hold it secure. It's like, what is this guy's background?
He's like the Popeye of the sea, right? He's like the known pirate that has defeated how many monsters and how much gold has he stolen. So he's the guy. He could. There's tell me. Okay, let me put it this way. Outside of Jack Sparrow. Can you name another pirate besides like a good guy pirate besides Sinbad?
Oh, good guy pirate. Well, is Jack Sparrow a good guy pirate?
Well, I mean, sort of.
He's kind of a bad guy. I think they're all bad guys. Aren't they all bad guys?
Well,
to be a pirate, you have the bad guy. Like now, maybe the only non-bad guy is.
Yeah, but wait a second. Sinbad doesn't do anything. Listen, he's not pillaging. He's not burning things down. So I think he's a good. Listen, Popeye was a good pirate. Was he a pirate?
Was a sailor man. He's a sailor man.
Well, okay, so okay.
Doesn't that sound so weak? I'm a pirate, and it's like I'm a sailor man.
Yeah, tell Popeye that after he has spinach. You'll see how tough you are. So so what's the difference between a pirate and a sailor man?
I don't know, but I just sailor man. It's just I guess you know what? Whoever wrote Popeye is pretty progressive back then. Okay, because it was a sailor man.
The name Popeye sounds lame to begin with. So, you're adding sailor, like, it's not like it's like if they had like Popeye the dragon, like, all right, Popeye's kind of lame, but you got the dragon part, but you got Popeye's lame and then you have Sailor Man, like, yeah, that is true. That is pretty
well, lame. You know what? Say that again. Say the first, what's his name again? Say it really slow.
Popeye the dragon?
Popeye.
Popeye.
What does he do when he gets like jacked up? Doesn't his eye like do something?
So wait,
maybe that's why they.
So you think when he was born, his eye was twitching, and like they looked at him, and they said, "You know what? See his eye? I'm his pop, and his eye is twitching. We're gonna name him Popeye."
Popeye. Yeah, maybe that was it. What did Olive Oil's mom do? Well, hey, honey, is this the baby name list? Oh no, that's the grocery list. Right. Olive oil. Yeah, sounds good.
So, which name is even lamer, Popeye or Wimpy? Because Wimpy is the guy that likes burgers.
Oh, right. Wimpy. But Wimpy does have like one of the like. It's so sad. Like the next generation won't watch Popeye to know those lines. Like,
wait a second.
I'd gladly play you.
If you really think about it. They all the good guys have lame names.
Even the bad
Popeye's
guys.
son. Wait,
I think Bluto is like. I don't.
well, that's
is
not
that
that bad.
Cool name.
Well, it's better than Popeye. But how about Popeye's son? You know Popeye's son's name? Sweet Pea. So you have the character, the good guys in this show, in the cartoon, is Popeye, Wimpy, and Sweet Pea. How lame!
That's really funny.
That's 3 lame names.
That's hilarious. So it's like, what's worse, Sweet Pea or a boy named Sue? That should have been Johnny Cash's song. Should have been a boy named Sue. It should have been Sweet Pea. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
God, that is right. Popeye olive oil.
Olive oil, like really the lamest name. Again, compared to all those, Bluto is listen, Bluto was in Animal House, and it was the coolest character in Animal House.
Oh, is that why you think he was in that name? Oh, probably. Popeye's an old
No, Popeye is probably from like the 30s. I mean, Popeye was around forever. I'm just saying, at least Bluto's, it was funny in in Animal House. And Bluto's a cool name. Popeye, Sweet Pea, and Wimpy.
Who was Bluto in the movie? Anybody?
Just a big fat guy with a black beard.
You know what I think of when I'm not going to look it up right now, but I would think, just thinking about it, it reminds me of the guy from Pee-wee's Big Adventure that chases Pee-wee. That's what I see in my head, the same guy.
Well, I thought the guy that Popeye boxes was King Kong Bundy.
Oh, really?
Because you remember the guy he boxes? He boxes.
Yeah.
And then he has the old lady there, his mom, because Popeye punches his mom by accident.
Yes.
It was such a good movie. All right.
How about Wimpy? Is Wimpy somebody? Wimpy's somebody famous.
He looks familiar. I mean, Olive Oil was obviously Shelley Duvall. Duvall.
Best, yeah.
Robin Williams. And then I think Popeye's father was the teacher in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Mr. Han.
Mr. Han? That's amazing.
I think he's Pappy.
Pappy. So, Pappy? Yeah. Wait, so Pappy, Popeye, Sweet Pea, and Olive Oil.
Yeah. Not the best names.
God.
Yeah.
God, that's great. That was awesome. But yeah, so then they get there and they're like, they finally get out of the storm and it's a perfect out, which that always happens. And they go, destiny has brought us here. And then he looks off in the distance and he sees like a hooded man, and it reminds me of the man that he saw in the vision. So I'm like, oh, okay, what's this? Sinbad? He's like the leader. The leaders aren't always the most badass. They usually have guys to do the work. He goes, all right, I'm going to go check it out. Dives in the water.
This is something that I was thinking throughout the whole movie. There's two instances where he goes off alone to explore. His crew stays on the ship both times. Like, so in case he gets into any trouble, like he's that confident that when he goes on like ashore, a new town and starts trouble or whatever, he can take care of himself.
Yeah.
He never has his crew with him.
And he used the dinghy the other times. He used a little boat the other times. And the one time, how did his people not say like, hey, there's another boat showing up, guys? Some kind of warning. No, they're just hanging out. Yeah, well, I think that's when they had the belly dancer. I think the belly dancer was there that time.
Yes. But, I mean, his crew didn't seem like... One guy, I think, fell when he was putting the sail up and he was hanging from the thing. He falls up top. Like, I don't think they were the best crew.
What's his name's son? That was... that
guy.
The Iron Sheik's son.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that was a... Who
was sobering up. He thought it was a trip around a trip in the bay, and then it was so great to see look on his face. What, a few days, few weeks, few months?
You know what? He looked like he should have been in Welcome Back. He looked like the guy from Welcome Back, Kotter.
Yeah, I know exactly,
Einstein or whatever his name is, Epstein.
Yep. He's from Jersey. He was from Denellen, New Jersey.
Oh, Epstein?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Him or Rorschach. I think it was Epstein. But so then he goes there, and then we see Cora for the first time. And the thing that makes zero sense, horses make sounds, okay? Horses aren't like electric vehicles now. Like when you walk through a parking lot, like you have to really be on alert because electric cars don't make sounds. Horses make sounds. How the hell did Sinbad sit down and gets snuck on by a horse. Not once, but twice, because once he's talking to Cora, another guy comes behind him. Like, what?
Again, that's why you have your crewmates with you. You know, like the fact that yeah. But I'll tell you, this whole like I guess scenic area that they have reminded me so much of Indiana Jones. Like it had such an Indiana Jones look to it, the town, the people, like the set I thought was so awesome.
Yeah, no, the one I think it was when they got here. It was the next time they went on when he brought other people with him. It reminded me of American Ninja too. When they were at the beach, I really was like, holy shit, man. But no, how about this scene? You talk about like, I know the other one-liners are a lot better, but this was like really silly when he goes, "Give me the amulet," and he goes, "Okay, very well." Hiya! Did the fake give back?
It was trickery. That's his move. That's his big move, and that's his big move.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And then this scene, you know what? There were some things that probably with the technology it couldn't do, but I wonder if they would do it now. Because when Sinbad goes into like that village and he's in the town, and then Cora seemed like he wants to chase him at first. Yep. Then he stops and the guards are going after Cora because obviously he's probably like a known bad guy, which makes zero sense because in the next scene he's in the building, which makes no sense at all. Why is he sending in his bat? Which we'll get into in a second. But when he's using his power to make the gate drop, I really thought, I was like, man, that's going to impale someone, and this is going to be really cool.
See, that doesn't make sense. This guy has power really to do anything. Because, you know, like I thought it was just to make things come alive. But yeah, he controls the gate and everything else. He can't find the amulet. He can do everything else. But find, like he can't send this gargoyle, hey, go out, you know, as far as you can go until you see land and go this way. And go, like he can have multiple gargoyles going at once. Like, why does he only have one? Like, send a bunch out there. And they would find the land. Like, this guy can't do that. He needs Sinbad for that.
Yeah, and you know what? And then he says a line that me thing, and I'm sure most people that watch this movie, like he goes, "I can't get I locked Sinbad in the prison." When he's talking to his henchman, which all that henchman barely talks. Akeem or Akbar.
Well, I think a good henchman never talks.
That is true. That is really true. They're good listeners. That's on their. That's how they get the job as main henchmen. They're good listeners. But when he goes, but in a castle, you know, who can hear everything? A mouse. So in my head, I'm like, oh, he's gonna send in a mouse, and then I'm like, how the hell did the gargoyle get that far into the building?
I said the same thing. How did the gargoyle get there? Because it seemed like there was only one way in, one way out. So like it seemed like
exactly,
yeah. Unless he can just make the gargoyle appear. Like anywhere he wants, because not to mention how far away is he? Like how far does is it like a drone? Like at a certain point, the gargoyle just falls in the water because he's out of reach of his magic powers.
That's a great point. I was thinking that too, because when he meets Metal Man, so Sinbad meets Metal Man.
Oh my gosh,
which I love that guy. I love the mask, and I love when you saw his burned face. I thought that was really neat.
I hate the mask. Okay, if you have to wear a mask, that thing looks like it weighs a ton. Why would you wear something that heavy when you could just put a simple mask on? Like you could come up with anything. You could put a sheet with holes in it and whatever. Like why wear a golden, like heavy, not even like just like it drove me nuts, that mask, because it looks so ridiculous.
I thought he was gonna be a bad guy. I really had this weird feeling.
So did I. I thought he was setting Sinbad up
on him.
Yep. Yeah. That's what I thought too.
But I did love I love people that have secret lairs, and this guy's was like so makeshift, because usually it's like a perfect hole in the wall. You move like a bookshelf, or you hit a button and something pops up. This, like, they lifted the art, and then it was like a really not great hole in the wall. Like they really had to step into it.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? That makes sense. Like if you're gonna, like, you know, like you're not gonna have the perfect hole in the wall if you're creating a lair, you know. But then again, if you're gonna have a cool lair, you're gonna tell me you can't just chisel a better hole. Like instead of having like a crack. And again, you have you have everything down there you need. You couldn't figure out. Sinbad did it in 5 minutes.
I know.
He did it in 5 minutes by accident. He did it 5 minutes by accident. Yet this guy, who knows how long he's held on to that map, he couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, like friggin' Bill Murray and The Man Who Knew Too Little would have figured that out because it was almost by accident. Yeah, that'd be a great movie. A pirate like Sinbad that just fumble. I guess that'd be like a Pauly Shore movie from the 90s.
Yeah,
but he's holding the amulet in front of it, just like looking at it, and it shines a perfect shadow onto the map. And he's like, "Oh, well, this is how." And the Metal Man was almost like, "Shit, man! Like I was doing this thing for 7 years."
That is true. And he did it 2 seconds. And that makes me think, is Sinbad as good as he really is? Or does he just get lucky sometimes and then take credit for it? Like, he was acting all like great. Like, listen, look what I figured out.
How'd you not do the old amulet in front of the flame trick to create the shadows on the wall?
But now that's not Indiana Jones. That's a total Indiana Jones thing.
That is true. Yeah. Maybe this is Indiana Jones.
See?
This is where Lucas and Spielberg were like, you know what? This Sinbad guy, let's just put a hat on him. Hey, you know what? It's a white guy. It's a white actor anyway. But oh my God, dude. And then the fact that gargoyle, but that's the thing that was silly about it was he was complaining Cora that he was like, I'm going to send him in so I know everything. But then he's in the building. So he's even farther away because the lair's probably like in the basement. So he's in like a tower listening to the gargoyle who's peeping. And then somehow this gargoyle who's peeping makes a sound.
Okay. So, yes. But first of all, you're sending in something to spy on what's going on. Why would you send like an ant? Like if you could create a gargoyle, why don't you create something so small that even if you make a sound, no one's going to know where you are? I mean, the gargoyle is pretty big, for what it's doing. And it stands out. It's not like it's going to blend in down there. Like at least a mouse, you could say, oh, we're in a dungeon, there's mice everywhere. Send in a mouse, like send in a rat or something, send in a worm, whatever it is. No, you send in a gargoyle. But you know what? Any of those things they would never think twice about. Send in a spider, like things that would be in a dungeon. No, let's send in a gargoyle that is 2 feet tall, whatever it is. That's going to completely stand out if they, and be noticeable.
How about this? If he's able to, like, he's creating these creatures, right? It's not like he found a gargoyle because he brings it back to life later, right? When it dies.
Well, or does he creates another one? I don't know if it's the same one.
I think he creates another one. So if he's creating these things, why not create well, I guess he would have to put it down there. I was just say, like, how about like a brick or how about do what you do later in the movie? Go invisible. If this is so important to find this out, go down there yourself.
Wait a second. A brick? So you're talking about so you want the brick to come alive and fight?
No, not to be alive. Just him go down there, put the brick down, and then give the brick like an ear, and then listen in.
Yeah, because that's not going to stand out. A brick with an ear. They're going to be walking.
Yeah, a human ear, like a big ear.
They're walking around. They're like, this seems odd. A brick with an ear. But you know what? You do make a point, though. He turns invisible multiple times at the end of the movie. Why not be invisible and just sit down in a dungeon? Because I was going to say, how's he going to get down there? But he could just easily follow them down there. It didn't.
Well, maybe he was just so nervous to use too much power.
Oh, there you go. Then okay, so with his power, he can go through walls and everything else. So like again, I wonder how far he can stretch that power to. With this much power, he should never die. He should be able to get as much gold, find every map. He should be able to do anything he wants because he looks like he could do anything. He's just not. You know what it is? He's not good with it. He's almost like the greatest American hero. He was given these powers, just not sure really how to use it the right way.
Now, do you think this was the first time he ever used his powers so much he became old? Like, has he found other fountain youths? Because, like, honestly, like, how would you know that you have all those powers? Or is he really 5 years old? Is he 5 years old?
I was just going to say that. He's probably 5 years old, and that's why he's not good with the powers. And so, but he aged so much, but he has a 5-year-old mind. and that's why he can't figure
I
it
would
out.
love that movie of him insulting Sinbad. Well, you're a poopy face. Cora,
This is turned into a Leslie Nielsen movie.
Dude,
I mean,
that would be great. Leslie Nielsen as Sinbad. Oh my god! But the whole thing so the necklace is part of a puzzle that the Metal Man talks about. That once it's solved, it'll stop Cora's black magic. So Cora obviously wants to get it to, I guess, prevent that. I don't know if there's any more powers that'll get from that, but that was what Metal Man wants to do.
Well, no, he wants to stop the sorcerer or whatever from getting it the other half.
Yeah,
so he doesn't. Right.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't know what Cora would get out of it. They never said like what Cora. It's not like Cora.
It's a fountain. It's a fountain of youth. Like that water at the end is the fountain.
No, he only dropped one piece into there. He didn't have all 4 pieces.
That's the last piece they're looking for.
So him dropping the one piece into the water counts for all of it?
No, I think so. No,
I don't know. He only has one little piece. Remember how big that thing is on his chest?
No, I know. But
he's pushing with his hand.
I thought the bad guy had the other parts, and then the last part was by in the dungeon at the end.
The last part was the one that was inside of the 6-armed creature.
Yes. So there's only 3 pieces, right?
No, he found there was another one found.
Where?
Right? I thought the one that was on his chest was the one on his chest. It was already at 3. Like when he found it, when the gargoyle dropped it, already at 3 pieces.
No, that was only the second piece. There's only 3 pieces.
It's only 3 pieces. Okay,
right. So that's what I'm saying. So the bad guy wants all 3 so he can use the fountain to get younger because he keeps getting older.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. Okay.
Oh man, and then this is when that guy makes a peep. There's a little peep that's made. Oh my god! And then he throws a book at him.
The chasing of the gargoyle was ridiculous.
Yeah. It was a little silly.
It was very silly. Like, and honestly, I felt a little bad when they got him.
It is sad because he doesn't want to do this. He just wants to be a normal gargoyle, He
does, and he's being forced to do what he's doing. And he's like a cute little animal.
Oh yeah. So, no, he's great. I love that guy. Yeah.
So why didn't he just again, he can't make the gargoyle appear right in front of him. Like I really want to know what, is there a list of magic things he can do? Because he does a bunch of different things, and I wonder where it stops.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Why, if he's listening the whole time, why wait so long to turn him into a bunch of leaves?
Correct.
It took way too long.
Yeah.
It took to the point that Sinbad's holding him. How is he going to get out? I don't know how he got in, but how is he honestly going to get out?
And why did he turn to leaves?
I don't know.
Is that what he uses to create them? Just leaves?
That'd be great.
Turning into leaves. I could see maybe turning into dust. That would make sense. But turning to leaves? I don't understand that.
Yeah, no, that was a silly choice, but
right.
Somehow he needed to do that. But now Cora knows that he has to go on a voyage, so he was able to use the gargoyle long enough to be able to listen to enough to be able to figure out, okay, we need to go on a voyage. And then from there we meet the gorgeous Carolyn Monroe. She's been in so much. One movie I have to mention, Slaughter High, is a really hard. You've seen it?
No, but I mean, I did look her IMDb. She was in a lot of movies. She's still acting today, I think. It's still
dude.
Bit parts. So I did reach out to her recently. So hopefully we can get her. So we'll see.
Slaughter High is a touchstone for my childhood. There was this place in my town called Closeout Corner. They sold clothes and it was old women clothes. But my dad would always walk in there because they had VHS tapes, and I bought it. And the best poster ever. It has a skull holding an apple, and he's wearing a graduation cap.
Why an apple?
Movie. Because it's about they prank the nerdy kid, and he gets really bad burns, and he goes into a mental hospital, and then he sets up a 10-year reunion for all the bullies.
So he waited.
And Carolyn Monroe is one of the bullies. It's good.
Okay. All right.
Really cheesy horror movie. But yeah, no, that's like the first time I ever saw her.
Is there a sequel?
No, there's not. I wish there was.
All right.
I think that tagline for the movie is Marty's cutting all of his classmates or something. It's like a really cheesy movie. But yeah, no, but she's in that, which is kind of crazy to me because, she's a Bond girl. She's in this.
Yep.
And then she's still in it. Like you said, she's still acting. She's in so much.
Yeah.
She's great. But we meet her for the first time. She's working for the Iron Sheik in this movie.
And he's automatically smitten. Is he smitten because of her, or is he smitten because of he realizes that she was the one that was in his dreams?
Well, he was kind of into her at first.
Well, of course.
And then once of course, right? Obviously. But then when he saw that, he's like, oh, and her, I'll take her. And he's like, oh, you like her? Here, I'll give you, he gives him a high five and he goes, I'll give you 400 coins if you take my son and you can have the girl.
His negotiating skills were awful because he started off like, I'll give you 100 coins. I'll give you 200 coins. Like he didn't even waste time. Like he just kept going higher and higher. Like if I was Sinbad, I would have kept waiting because that he kept raising it like within seconds. Like he didn't even really let him answer. He just kept raising it more and more.
He was doing it. He was paying 400 gold coins to get and a girl. So I don't know what her worth is in that time to get rid of his son, who's an alcoholic, and the weed. Because right, they say, oh, you're having too much of the hashish. But yeah, just to get rid and sober up.
You know what? I didn't even think about it that way. Like he hated his son so much that he's offering high rewards for someone just to take him. And
not anyone. Sinbad, who goes on these voyages,
the most dangerous, and clearly the kid has no skill whatsoever. Somehow he gets skill later on, but has no skill, and he literally you got to assume multiple people have gone through the town, and he's tried so many times to get rid of him, and everybody said no. Sinbad is it's like one of the he's probably the number 10 in line that has met the Sheik. And the Sheik's still trying to get rid of his son, and he's got no takers.
Yeah, no, maybe I need to start 100 gold coins. I've been lowballing people too much. I really need to just get rid of this kid, and that worked. That worked for him. But
you think about you would assume slaves at that time. Obviously, she was a slave to him. Slaves at that time were probably super expensive. So the fact that he's willing within seconds to get rid of his main slave because she was right there serving him and everything else for his son shows you how bad he wanted to get rid of his son.
He hated his son. He's like, yeah, let's get out of here. You remind me of your mom. He was divorced. You remind me of your mom. I gotta get rid of you. But yeah, no. So he's on the ship. So then they go back to the ship. This is when all the belly dancer is dancing, and then they have to kick her off because everybody comes back.
Okay,
but then Metal Man.
Yeah. Right, before that. So he's, again, exploring an unknown place while his crewmates are drinking and watching a belly dancer dance, who literally had a pimp standing there with the belly dancer. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize they had pimps back then, but clearly they do, because he was the one that was taking the belly dancer back when they said, all right, she's got to go. That's his crew. His crew is partying while he's maybe he's locked up. Maybe he's in danger. Maybe he's being attacked. No, let's just have a belly dancer and party.
But again, for them, they're like, hey, we probably want him to come, but you jumped in the water by yourself. You're doing,
and we don't know how to swim.
Yourself. Yeah, we didn't even know where you were. How didn't even know where they were? He jumped off a ship and ended up in, I guess it's probably the nearest port, but good lucky guess. They could have been like, oh, maybe he went to the other side. We don't know where he is. There's no communication, makes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah, so Metal Man shows up, and then I gotta find that line to add in. But when the guy says, I've heard gold going to a man's head, but this, and he did a little emphasis at the end. But God, and then Korra is again, when we watch so many movies, and ones that we cover, trailing, when bad guys are trailing the cops.
Yep.
And it's a freaking ship. There's nothing to hide you.
Yeah.
How do you actually,
how do you think you can get away with it? How do you think you can get away with it by trail? Absolutely. And like clearly they have no clue where they're going. Like
None.
they really don't. And if Sinbad's plan worked, they would have been stuck in the middle of the ocean. How do you get back to anywhere? Because they didn't seem like good navigators.
No.
Okay.
No, to me, it's just so silly that like Korra has all these powers, but he needs to use Sinbad as his map quests.
Yeah, why
in order to
couldn't
find
he?
it.
Why couldn't he go earlier, make that creature appear, and grab the map as soon as he saw Sinbad? Like, why did he wait until they went to treacherous waters, and almost get lost? He could have grabbed the map a long time ago.
That is true, but it wouldn't have been as cool for us as the audience. How great, how unreal it looks.
Yeah. No, that
Like,
was definitely cool. Yeah.
So awesome. So then, so the kid finds out, Iron Sheik's son finds out he's going to be on the ship for a long time. He's like panicking. They're all laughing at him. And so down in like Sinbad's area of the ship, Carolyn Monroe's down there, and she's like ready to stab. Like, what was her end game? She would have stabbed Sinbad and what? Jumped into the ocean and swam back?
Yeah, I don't think she was. Well, did she think that Sinbad was going to sleep with her? Like, is that what her like fear was? Like, he set her free, but was she really free? Is that what she was? I don't know. And
that's a good point.
And to be honest, I don't think she could have done a worse job of hiding the fact that she's holding something behind her back.
I know.
He's literally talking to her as her arms behind her back the entire time. The only reason why your arm would be behind your back if you had a scratch and you're scratching your back.
Yeah.
She held her arm there the entire time, which was a complete giveaway that basically she's hiding something that maybe could hurt me.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Like, from that point when he was like, "Oh, I'm staying in this room," she's like, "You are?" That's when she like kind of like was like, "Oh, this guy doesn't want to sleep with me at all."
But then she almost seemed annoyed, like she's like almost like, "Oh," and then she started to get turned on by him. I think she started liking him. Like, it's almost like, all right, if he's not gonna, like, I don't know. It was a weird relationship, I think, between the both of them.
And he said, "Please." When he said, "Please," for the wine, she's like, "Wine." He's like, "Oh, please." She was probably like, "Ooh."
So
guy.
2 seconds ago, she was going to stab him. And now, listen, enough for nothing. If he was a creep and he was going to do something with her, what makes her think that now she could trust him just because he said, "I'm going to sleep in the other room"? That could have been part of the plan. Like, she literally like trusted him in seconds. Like, she was fearing for her life. And then 2 seconds later, he was like, "Oh, this guy's trustworthy."
Yeah. He was like, yeah. I'm just going to go to bed. All right. And then as soon as she he's pretending, tiptoe, creep. But no, he's a good guy. That's Sinbad.
See that, and so not all pirates are bad.
Not all pirates are bad. But yeah, and that Korra, God, man, this guy, like from watching Aladdin, I know the story of Aladdin was written like years and years and years, way before the cartoon came out in the early 90s. But he is Jafar, right? Like, when they made Jafar, they
based it on
at
him.
These movies, right?
Absolutely. Well, also think about the town that he just left, where Iron Sheik
exactly
was. It looks like Aladdin. So I think it was Jafar.
Yeah, no, 100%. So then, dude, we talked about this earlier, but we have to talk about it again. If I gotta add some clips to this review for people that are watching on YouTube or just on social media at Sequels Only. I'll share a bunch of clips because I think obviously you got to listen to our review, but I think just so many people need to like see this movie and like just the stop motion 100%. Animation is
I don't
unreal.
think a lot of people know about this movie. At least the younger generation, and it is, again, you don't hear me say a movie is good too often. So if I'm saying it, you got to see it. That's what I got to say.
No, I know. But the fact that he is able to, from the other ship, Korra, he's able to make the mast of the ship a lady, rip off. Like, the other ones are cool. The other ones are so cool, but they're like standalone creatures. This one, we saw it pull from a structure that it was attached to.
Yeah. No, it was, again, we could say it over and over again. I mean, like, so creative and really realistic. Like again, it's really hard to explain without watching it. And I
Yeah.
think any of our listeners, if you have not seen this movie, it's so worth watching. And I can see why Tim Burton likes it. I mean, this Clash of the Titans, this is probably what drove him to start making the kind of movies he makes, is by
Oh yeah,
watching
he's
movies
stop
like
motion.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So, but this fight was pretty cool. I mean, although the thing moved super slow, like, so that goes along with the powers. Like, if the bigger they are, the slower they move. Like, is he able to control the speed of the thing? Like, it moved very slow.
Or maybe
So
just
I
like it's
wonder.
like Wi-Fi. He was too far away and he couldn't move it fast enough, even no matter what the size is. But he was too far away. You know what's funny? The first thing I thought of when I saw it, I was like, "It's Groot's mom." Like
It did,
it looked
yeah,
like Groot,
yeah,
and
it
it
did.
was just obviously a bigger creature. But I think the coolest thing about the stop motion, I think it looks so good that even though when we see people on top of the creatures, and we know they're clay creatures
Yep,
too, like the
yep,
people are clay,
yep.
it still looks
It
good when they
does.
get
It
thrown.
does.
Dude, when it's choking out the guy, because at
Yep,
first it's choking out the guy, it's like a real actor. Then
yep,
when it switches and it gets thrown into the water,
yep.
it looks amazing. Like,
It really does. And yes, you're right. You can see that it's claymation as well, but it's so well done that if you like kind of look quickly, it looks like a real person. Right?
oh yeah,
It's not like they completely dangled a clay person and you could see it. Like, the way the camera angle was, you could question, like, wait, is that really a clay, or is that, like, they did such a good job that it really blended in well.
oh yeah, dude. And then Cora shouting, "Return, return!" after you grab the map, return. And the best was at first they're like, "Oh, it's wood. Shouldn't it float?" And they're like, "Oh, we had like there was like iron on the mast, and it's like stuck in the bottom." And then we see it like detach and float up again. And
Oh my gosh.
again, we said it earlier, the maps aren't waterproof. They're made
Yeah,
out of papyrus. Like
correct.
that thing should have been like
It,
wet newspaper.
yeah,
Like,
it literally was in perfect condition. But
yeah.
Cora doesn't say anything at all when he's creating these things or anything else. So saying, like, return out loud, like, he couldn't just, he makes the things happen. He makes the gargoyles show up. What, he can't just make them come back. He has to say return.
Yeah, no, that is weird because he never had to say that with the gargoyle.
No,
Like that
he
thing
didn't.
just knew what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And he doesn't say it at the thing at the end either. Like, so, like, I wonder why he had to say return, just to make it more dramatic.
Maybe if they're carrying something, or he doesn't have the power to like, I don't know. Can he like make the map like fly to him? Like that makes no sense. Like obviously I know that the creature has legs and can move and I guess swim, but like his powers have
Okay.
to. He can make a gate fall. He can make a little
Yeah.
a little map that weighs nothing and fly through the sky.
Or get another gargoyle to grab the map and fly back. I mean,
Yeah.
considering how slow that creature moved on there, how long do you think it's going to take the thing to get to
That's true.
and didn't it turn back to wood once it's the water at first? Like, it would just, like, and then it came back alive again. So it looked like it
well,
was just
that's
floating
what. Yeah, no, that's what it looked. But then when they pulled on the ship, it was definitely just like
Yeah.
a chunk of wood, like a
Yeah.
piece of tree. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god, man! But I don't know how it sunk to the bottom.
Yeah.
But the fact that when he just kept shouting "return," it was so funny.
I know. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like, okay, I guess I gotta come back.
And how does it know where to go?
Call that's
Because, I mean, if he has to tell it to return, which means he doesn't have the power to bring it back himself.
yeah.
So what if, like, the thing's like going completely the wrong direction when it's trying to get back? I mean, what?
There's only 2 ships in the ocean right now, so maybe
That's true.
I came from that
Right.
one. I gotta go to the other one.
All right.
But so yeah, so now the gargoyle's fixed at this point, and Cora sends him to find Sinbad. And this is where Sinbad and his crew, they show up at another place. This is when they all show up together. This was the set. This location reminded me of American Ninja 2.
Oh, yeah.
But when they get there, they see a man in a black robe, and you're like, oh shit, this is who it is. But I love when they get close, the gargoyle is peeping. Kind of like Michael Berryman in The Hills Have Eyes too.
He does a lot of peeping, the gargoyle.
He's a peeper.
Honestly, that's his sole purpose. I mean, he's peeping everywhere because that's where the coral can see. So, but yeah, he's peeping. Again, why not get something smaller? Why get something less noticeable than a gargoyle that you're not going to normally see? That's going to stand out completely.
Yeah. Do they fly like super fast, like a butterfly wouldn't do it?
Clearly, no, because you saw the gargoyle flying over the ship in the beginning of the movie. And it wasn't going that fast.
But again, we talked about this earlier, but again, the guys, the rest of the crew that hangs with the ship, I've seen so many movies with pirates and even movies with like just people that dock their boats and they climb in. I've been on a boat before that we parked the boat and like threw the anchors down and then swam to the beach. And it's like that, like Sinbad's ship has to be not far away. How the hell unless there's two belly dancers that are there that people aren't paying attention, but how do they not notice like Cora park right next to Sinbad's ship? Like, I'm like, what is
again?
The
they're not the best pirates. I mean, clearly, like they're kind of useless, to be honest with you. Except for his right hand man is really like the only like other good pirate. The other ones really aren't that good. Half of them die.
The guy with no shirt on is good because he fights at the end, but I think he dies. They
all
really
do.
Easy.
They all died pretty easy, except for his right hand man. Yeah.
Oh god! So this whole temple that they're looking for is supposed to be like this mythical place that doesn't exist, and they're following a man who they think is Cora going to the cave, and the hooded figure. That how bizarre was that scene? It was like, did Cora send that hooded figure? Like, but we didn't see him because he was talking normal. Can he do two things at once? Like when he's doing the return thing, could he be like sitting at the table eating dinner with his family and focus on that conversation and control other things because he's controlling a man walking?
So then why doesn't he control one of the pirates that are on Sinbad's ship? Yeah.
That would have been it. That would have been it.
That would have been easy.
Human.
Yeah. But I don't think he understands how to use his own powers. I mean, because he only uses them sporadically, right? It's not like he's constantly, so it just, I don't think or again, because he's aging each time, he has to be very selective of when he's using it or how he's using it.
He's a 5-year-old. He's a 5-year-old that doesn't understand it, and he accidentally but he bought the wrong magic kit, and he learned how to do something, and he's just gonna keep doing it because how about the wild-looking horned man in the cave? It gave me like real like vibes of Wizard of Oz because it was just a floating head in like this dark mass and like all the lights behind it. It was like, whoa, man.
Yeah.
And how about this joke? Do you have that joke written down? The metal man turns and he goes, Sinbad nudges the metal man and goes, he always talks in riddles.
Yes.
He's not even paying attention to what this guy's saying. He just he'll make a comment about this guy. He's probably telling us important stuff. He talks in riddles.
Oh my gosh.
No,
it's so ridiculous.
But even this scene's really silly because when it's like Sinbad likes to go alone. Like he wants that story.
Always.
Because when the cave starts coming in, when Cora, he goes, go back, and he runs up.
Well, because he wants all the credit. Because if he went with his pirate friends and one of his pirate friends, saves the day or finds the gold, how does that make Sinbad look?
That is true. He wouldn't look good anymore.
He wouldn't look good.
He'd be like Sinbad bad.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wait, what is his name? Sinbad? No way. Is that like a religious name?
Is that like a Rip Torn? Is that a Rip Torn moment?
Right? When you really think about it, it's like Sinbad. It's like a caveman wrote it and be like, okay, we want somebody that's supposed to be really good. Okay, well, he's really good because Sinbad.
Yeah, but he doesn't do anything bad. So But Sinbad, that's oh my gosh. We have
What
to
a
we have to
weird
look that
name.
up. We have to look into that.
Sinbad.
That is
But
funny.
so yeah, they said they blow up the entrance of the cave, and then it's just him. Him
Yeah.
and Carolyn run forward, so they're kind of like getting out, right?
But they're trying to.
Well, they're trying to, yeah. No, the way they escape is really awesome because they do that, and then at first when they run up, you think, oh, they're gonna be trapped by themselves, but they're not. Like they're stuck. They can't get out, and they go back with everyone else. But I love that they were all taking their clothes off, and they were like doing like the link to get
Yep.
out. I thought that was
Yep.
pretty funny.
It was. I mean, but does that like? I wonder if people have done that and if that really works.
Oh,
Like, I'd be
that's a
afraid
trope we've seen so much.
all the time, and I'd be afraid like one of those like. Did you make all the knots tight? Like, what if the one
Oh,
knot,
yeah.
and it's like your shirt, everybody ties their own shirt into the knot, and then the one
Oof.
knot that comes across, I mean, I don't know. I wonder if that would really work.
I guess you have to test it out. You have to like do a little game of tug of war to make sure the knots are really good.
I
But no,
guess.
that's what I think so great about this movie, and I think that's what's great about like the Indiana Jones of the world, like those types of movies, is that there's like really great action, really great action. And then there's like these really kind of silly jokes that kind of catch you off guard that are even more funny because like him nudging Metal Man and saying this guy talks in riddles, or
Yeah.
like the gold goes to this guy's head, and like there's all these like little things in the movie that that kind of like, oh, okay, that's really funny because you're not expecting like
Correct.
a joke to come in that
I think
sense.
that's what it is. You're not expecting it. Like, Indiana Jones when the guys with the two swords and he takes out the gun and shoots one of them. Like
Yeah.
that same kind of comedy. I think there's very similar comedy in both these movies. Like it's,
Oh yeah.
because the action is great. And then you have, like a scene where there is some kind of comedy. So I think that's what makes the movies so good is one, I mean, there really is like nonstop action. There's like a lot of things like it's rarely a dull moment in a movie. It does move pretty fast. And same thing with Indiana Jones. Like, there might be a little talky scene, but for the most part, like he's either on the run all the time, he's fighting someone, like it's constantly moving. And I feel like this movie was constantly moving. Like it really wasn't.
Oh
any dull
yeah.
points.
The fact that this is the third act that we're talking about right now, like I
Yeah.
only have 3
Yeah.
pages of notes, and it's
Yeah.
not for the lack of things going on in the screen. It's just that it really does move that much.
Yeah.
Like the scenes really, there's not a lot of like scenes. There's
No.
really like the scenes are like good chunks of the movie.
Yep.
Like in the
Correct.
city is like 20 minutes, like on the boat, like when it's like 10 minutes here and there. Yeah.
Well, I like that because it makes it look like it's almost real time, right? By not having too many scenes, you're seeing them on the ship get to the island. You're seeing them land on the island. You're seeing them leave the island. Like every scene in the movie literally leads to the next one, and it's almost like it's real time.
Yeah, yeah, and I do love how they get out, like the shooting of the sword and like the like right wasn't it? It didn't really look like a sword, like when you saw it get stuck under the well on the outside.
Well, didn't he bend the bar first with his hands?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, listen. There's a lot of unbelievable things, or things that are ridiculous, but him bending the bar so he could throw it up there, and he threw it once, it landed right away, and like it looked like it was on the edge. Like it didn't look like it was that secure up there.
Oh yeah, no, the whole time it was like moving, so you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? And then I'm like, oh, it is big enough to like hold on the opening.
Yeah, and the hole looked
the-
kind of small.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it looked so small from the bottom, and it looked more like a hole that was
Correct.
like made
Correct.
from like something breaking through it. Not that like it looked like a perfect well from the outside. It looked like the well where the horned man was talking from, but
Yeah.
it's not that's not the same spot.
No, but I mean, from the bottom, it looked like there's no way a human's fitting in that hole.
yeah. And the gargoyle was like a pesky mosquito. He showed up and was like he was like kind of like swatting at him, and then
Yep.
who's the one who shot him with the arrow? It was the drunk kid, right?
So he gave the drunk kid the arrow and says, shoot anything that comes in or something like that. Of all the people, why would you give it to him?
He believes in him.
Oh, okay. Well, he did it. No. Didn't Sinbad fall down? Or did? Yeah, he didn't make it out, right? He fell. Didn't he fall? I thought he fell, or did he make it out?
No, he ended up. He made it out.
Oh,
and
so
then
the
everybody
drunk
else
kid,
made it out.
so the drunk kid ended up
Oh no,
killing
he killed
the
it.
gargoyle?
Yeah, no, it
Okay.
went right through the gargoyle and fell on the ground. Yeah,
Did he turn the leaves again? I forgot.
that would have been good, right? He's dead, and then he's like, "Shit, I gotta use my powers to turn the leaves."
Keep wasting them. Jeez.
Wasting those leaves, man. But no, he saved them.
Yeah.
And then now, the silliest thing happened. I know they're not huge like the Incredible Hulk.
I know.
But they're green people.
Yeah. This to me, this scene is a little like. I think it's like more filler than anything. I think.
Oh, it was just bizarre that Korra, again, he has powers, so he really doesn't need these people. But the fact that they're gonna kill him until he can make the 6-armed. I shouldn't know the name of the actual the goddess, but move, and then he's like, "You listen to me now."
Okay, I have a question about this statue. Very cool thing, but where did the swords come from?
Oh, I don't know.
Because the statue has 6 arms, and then all of a sudden pulls out 6 swords. No.
Yeah.
It already had 1 sword. I think the Korra gave the statue 1 sword, and then it pulls out like the other sword. So I was just curious, like, did the statue hide them inside, like inside the statue, or
just in case? But no, they were engraved. They would have done like a really, maybe they cut that scene of like, or they were just like, oh shit, we forgot to shoot that, and it's like, nobody will notice.
Well,
50 years later,
also,
we noticed.
It is a statue. So does the statue really? I mean, it's a huge statue that has 6 arms. That a sword's not going to really penetrate the statue. It's a heavy statue. Does it really need a sword? Like, can't it just grab these people and just like choke them or rip them apart?
That's true.
Like, I don't think it really needs.
It can't be hurt.
It can't be hurt, right? That's what I'm saying. So it really didn't need I mean, like, it could have been like a good. But I mean, seeing the statue fight like 4 pirates at a time was very cool.
It was awesome. Yeah, dude. I loved it. It was like such a neat little scene, and the fact that, like I said earlier, the only way in my head, I'm like, oh man, there's not gonna be able to take this thing down because they're using like fire and stuff. I'm like, it's not like it's made out of wood.
Yeah,
it's not like the Scarecrow. It's not anything like that. What are you gonna do? Burn like it's made out of like rock, and then when it goes high up, and then the kid saves him again.
Yeah,
Iron Sheik's son did it again.
Yeah, he did it again, but
he pushed it off.
Is Korra controlling the statue, or at this point, because he clearly was kind of controlling the thing on the boat, is he controlling the statue too?
I know, because he leaves, right?
That's what I mean. So he just makes it come alive,
puts it on autopilot. He simulates it like a video game. I'm gonna sim this fight. I gotta leave, but no. And the fact that how would that thing get in there? So it's a hollowed statue that they built just to put. Like, what are the chances? Like, Korra is like, oh man, what are the chances I choose the one statue and then they're gonna get the puzzle piece? Really, that's what happened after it broke up, and they're like, here it is.
Yeah. That. So and yeah, I don't know. Like, you would think again, the magician or whatever Korra would realize like where, I don't know. I feel like he knows nothing in this movie. Like, he really is like, I mean, he has his powers, but he doesn't know where the map is. He can't use the map. He can't follow. He can't. His boat gets lost. He doesn't know this piece is here. Like, he really doesn't know anything in this whole adventure.
He's 5 years old. He knows nothing. He knows nothing.
Why? So why doesn't he just like he should have just joined Sinbad's crew? They all get it together. If he just wants the water to become young again, I don't think Sinbad cares about the water. No,
he really. Sinbad's kind of like just annoyed by him. It's not like he thinks of him as like this evil
I don't think
enemy.
he thinks
he's
of him
like
as a
just
threat
getting
at all.
in the way. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what it is. He just keeps getting in the way.
Yeah, it's like there's like, and I don't know. They never explained Korra's. Like, we knew what would happen if Sinbad found it from Metal Man. It was like it would stop Korra's black magic. But does that mean in turn that if Korra gets it, he like doubles his black magic?
He becomes
He already has black magic. He already has.
No, but he gets young. He'll get younger and then so stronger. I guess with his black magic. I think he's just really not paying attention. To me, like having the end fight with the magician was kind of lame. Like it should have been another creature. Like I feel like, he should have fought something else at the end because, having I don't know. You know what? Now that remember, he was also turning invisible, which made it cool. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, he took a while to turn invisible, which we'll get to.
That is true. That is true. Okay.
So then the Hulk people, they're about to take the amulet, the third puzzle piece, and then that's when Carolyn Monroe lifts her hand, and like at first everybody's like, "Oh my god, they think she's a god," and it's like, "Oh well, no, they're gonna sacrifice her." And then the second Star Wars reference, sure, there's more that I just didn't catch, but the second one, Return of the Jedi. Like dropping her into like Falkor, right? What was his name?
The monster,
Rancor.
Yeah,
I was thinking of next sequel by saying Falkor.
What a nerd!
But Rancor, which I had the Rancor toy as a kid, it was terrible. but Rancor, like that was that scene. She gets dropped in. We see Minotaur Cyclops with that has like a caveman baseball bat, like.
So did he create that himself? Like how did he get, like it just...
Oh no, I think that was already there. No, that was already there because the Hulk people knew of him.
You think they threw down a club? Like does a Minotaur...
Oh, you're talking about did he make it? Oh
yeah, no, I'm saying did he make the club, and like does he really need a club? He's a monster. Like what does he need a club for? Clearly he can tear anybody apart. So
yeah. No, you're right. Happy birthday, Mr. Minotaur Cyclops.
So, and again, this. I think we discussed this before. Would he be more attracted to a horse or a Cyclops?
Oh yeah,
how does that work?
Too,
how does that work when you're like half and half?
That's true. I don't know. What would be easier? I guess it would be easier to relate to, but maybe horses look at a Minotaur Cyclops and they're like, he only has one eye. It's kind of weird. And then Cyclops look at him and be like, 4 legs, man. But hung like a mule. Like there's that portion of it. But what a crazy...
Wait a second. You're saying the Cyclops would go for another male Cyclops? You said the Cyclops would be attracted to another one because he's hung like a mule.
No. A Cyclops. I didn't say male Cyclops. I said Cyclops. Cyclops can be women.
Was that a male or female?
The one that we saw, I didn't get a look. They cut that out.
Yeah, I didn't see anything hanging. So it might be a female.
I didn't see any drag marks on the ground behind it. I didn't see a line in the sand. But oh my god. But but that God, just the way the creature moved, especially this one. I think that's what's cool about this movie is I feel like each one we see, it's basically like Ray like kicking up a notch. Like the gargoyle looks great, really cool, but it's like not so many moving parts.
Right.
But there's like the eye, the arms, the weapon, the head turn, the legs, the horse tail moving. Like it's wild.
No, it really is. And you know what? He's a genius. I mean, to make it like that, because it does look, there's been stop motion in some movies that just look terrible. And this really looks like it, like the thing is there. Like, when they fight and all, it really is incredible. And I think that's what makes the movie, like if the stop motion didn't look as good, I think the movie would be such a B movie, cheesy, I probably wouldn't like it. But because of how well the stop motion is what makes the movie so good.
No, I agree. No, it is cool because we have those. Every time you see it, you're like, oh, you're like amazed. Yeah. You stop what you're doing. Yeah. Like if you're on your phone or looking around, you see it, you're like, oh my god, this is like really something. But you know what? There was one scene I wrote down that I wanted to ask you about. So what was Korra when he was leaving? So meanwhile, while this is happening with Sinbad and Carolyn, you have Korra like walking, and I don't know what was he holding that he dropped. It almost seemed like it was like a goof, but he dropped something and it turned into a big thing of smoke. Do you remember that? He was like walking up the hill or walking down a hill, and something turned into smoke and it just disappeared.
Maybe it was his like trying to like a smoke screen, so they didn't know where he was going.
No, because he looked like he dropped it and he like did
By
like
accident.
he put his hands in the air. It was so bizarre because then from there is when he gets to the Fountain of Youth and he like it's almost like he's using powers to get to it because even he's walking up a hill and he looks like he's old, but he's like
aged
looking
so
fine.
fast when he got there. Like literally, like he aged so bad that he can't walk.
I know.
And he didn't look like he was 105 years old. I mean, like there's no reason why he had to crawl there.
Did you expect Sinbad to show up and step on his fingers? Because that's what I was thinking. When you saw the fingers getting so close and you saw it nudging, because there were like 4 nudges to get the amulet into the water. I was thinking when he couldn't get it like the second time, I'm like, you're going to do like the old finger step. And then that was going to be like sort of the end. I wasn't expecting like another fight,
Well,
like what we got.
There had to be. There had to be another fight because like, again, it's you thought the sorcerer is just going to get away. You know, he's going to age and that's it. It's going to be over.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought that was going to be it.
That'd be kind of a lame ending.
I was thinking runtime in these movies too. Like I was thinking like back then, I still thought like 90 was a flat rule, like 60s, 70s. Cause for the most part, like nobody really wanted to try to do too much. So I was like, oh, you know what? But no, it
What
was
this movie
no,
like almost 2 hours, wasn't it? Was it almost 2
I
hours?
think it was
or
an hour
short?
45. So that's why, like, cause really the last part of the from here on out, it's 15 minutes. So that's why I was thinking like, oh, this is the end. But dude, I'm obviously happy it wasn't because we had we see Korra and he's young again, youthful, well, and just like everything's just darkened. Like it's not like anything else changes with his appearance. But dude, the battle that we get with that hawk and Minotaur, oh my
it's
god.
a griffin, by the way. It's a griffin.
Oh, a griffin. Oh yeah, Gryffindor. Yeah. Makes sense.
No, that again, that
so
was
good.
Being that it's stop motion, how cool is that? But where'd that griffin? Oh, wait a second. Did they steal an egg or something before? Like, did they? Was there something with the other pirates? They did something with the nest or something? No, or something.
No. It was Griffin was like that. That's when he mentioned the good versus evil. So this was like a battle of good versus evil. So
the Griffin wasn't in the movie earlier at all.
No.
Oh, then I'm
not
thinking
that
of
I
something
remember.
else. Okay, then I'll think of another movie. So so you're telling me the Griffin just came out of the blue
to basically like the battle of good and evil. Sinbad. Sinbad bird good.
Oh my gosh.
But when he shows up, and I love that we didn't, it was almost like a WWF entrance from like when you don't know who's coming out in the Royal Rumble because you saw the Minotaur Cyclops and Carolyn was like scared. Everybody was like looking at him. And then you see the Griffin, like the way it came in, I'm like, this is so cool, man.
Cool, but let's be honest. I mean, a bird is no match for a half monster, half horse. I mean, really.
True. But the fights are cool.
Oh, the fights are very cool. But so does the Griffin live on this island also?
No, I just think it's good, and it got the phone call like, "Hey."
Oh. And so on this island, is that the only Minotaur? Like, does he have any like? Because there doesn't seem anything else around. Like where did he come from?
Well, I think he's there as like he's almost like a god to
like
them,
a guardian,
even
like a guardian.
Yeah. Well, because they sacrifice into the pit. So instead of their lava pit, it's we throw you down, and you get eaten by, this Minotaur Cyclops. But man, the when you see like Sinbad and the way everything was cut was really cool too, because when you see the clay, like Sinbad on the back of the Cyclops, you can obviously tell, but then they did great cuts of the actual actor in a close up, stabbing the back of him. It just looked great, man.
And like I said, when you watch again, you could tell, but at the same time, it wasn't so obvious. Like it was, I mean, you could tell, but it wasn't so dumb looking. Like it looked good. Like it looked like it blended in. Like it was just incredible.
No, so good. And then the battle, man. The fact that Korra, when he's turning, he says, what's his line? He says, it's hard to fight a man that you can't see, right? Isn't that what he says?
Something like that.
But at first I'm like, dude, it's not working because he's only like, it's not even like his whole body. It's like from his shoulder, like halfway through his stomach. And then I'm like, this is kind of weird. And then I was like, what if he doesn't change? But then he went full.
What
invisible.
if he lost his energy? Because again, remember he loses energy every time
that's true.
while he's invisible. Is he going to be invisible the rest of his life?
Oh yeah.
Like, is that a risk he's taking?
Yeah. Well, he was pretty dumb when he's like, oh, he did what the bad guys always do that we talk about in movies. They have to like tell you about their plan, or they have to talk shit instead of just
every time
stop, just get rid of him. No, he for some dumb reason is talking smack and then goes into a waterfall. So then he's seen.
It's so, first of all, if you went in a waterfall, I can understand it would show the outline, I guess, because you're blocking some of the water.
Yeah.
But is it going to show your whole body, like in color? No,
not in color. No.
Well, his is color.
Well, it changes pretty quick when Sinbad just does, ugh. Like, I love that. It's almost like he's invisible, but he's blind at the same time. Because how does he not see that Sinbad's winding up to stab him in the stomach?
And let me tell you something. There was a lot of blood in that water.
Dude, that was a cool scene. Like, as soon as he got stabbed,
it seemed like a little too much blood. Like there was not enough blood that came out that would fill the water like that.
Oh yeah, but no, I think it was more because that fountain he used was obviously something that was like good. So the evil was being ridded. So no, it was definitely not that, but it just looks so great because effect wise, I was like thinking in my head, like, all right, this is 1973. Is that like a light that they're shining? Was there like a floodlight, a red floodlight, or were they somehow able to isolate just the red water into that? Because it just looked so cool. And then the fact that a crown is in there. Like, what is that a crown for? Was it for Metal Man's kingdom that's millions of miles away?
That fit his metal mask perfectly. The crown. So you're telling me if he doesn't wear the metal mask, the crown's just going to fall through his head and land around his shoulders?
Like King Richard, right? Like King Richard. Let's just fall down. Oh my God. But no, you know what was really funny about it was when he puts the mask on and you see like, and you hear like sounds, and then he takes it off and he looks like every person from like whenever you watch like Ben-Hur or any of those type of movies, like even the one Rip Torn when he plays Judas, like you just think of those guys, and that's what that guy looked like exactly. I'm like,
and I honestly thought, and I think you said it before, that there was gonna be something where he was the bad guy and this was his plan the whole time.
Yeah,
that would.
I thought he would have turned earlier. If he would have turned now, that would have really blew me away. But there was a point that I really thought he was going to turn on him, because I just thought it was like kind of odd that he would come with him. It was so weird. And then there was even a line that Sinbad says earlier. I forgot to mention it. I thought I wrote it down, but he goes, well, why haven't you been named because whoever was the king, whatever, I don't think they used the term king in there, but anyway, when his boss died, Sinbad was like, oh, why haven't you taken the crown? And then I was like, oh, that is kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
And then there was like these other things throughout the movie, but no, he was a good guy.
Imagine this. Under the mask was the real Korra.
What if that would have been the best switcheroo of the whole movie?
Right.
If Korra was in that mask in that time, and we saw him obviously like a scene before, but it's like, where's Korra? He's disappeared.
Well, or like so the Korra that dies in the like by Sinbad being invisible turns the leaves.
That'd have been good. I just think you kicked it up a notch. And
the problem is, though, the movie's already an hour and 49 minutes, so that would make it another 25 minutes to go. So,
but then it kind of ends pretty quick, because from there,
very quick.
And then Sinbad takes the girl and goes.
That's it. So they didn't waste any time with the ending. They're like, all right, we just did a big scene. Let's just We'll end it right here.
Just like the beginning and the ending, they just got right to the point. And you know what's funny? This whole time when I was watching this movie and writing notes, and even while we were just talking about it for the last like hour and a half, I was like, you know what would be great? I wish I knew one Sinbad joke, like the comedian Sinbad. I know he's a great comedian. I couldn't tell you one bit. Most comedians that I've seen, even one stand up, I can think of a type of joke that they're going to say. I couldn't even tell you what he talks about.
I think with Sinbad, I think it's more his delivery. And
what he dressed in?
The who?
His outfits are pretty like
out there,
ridiculous.
Right? But I think he was actually funny in that movie with Arnold.
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way. He was great. So I mean,
dude, House Guest. He is in.
How about the football movie, The Necessary Roughness?
Oh, Necessary Roughness. Great in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was. He was pretty good. I always liked Sinbad, but I couldn't. Too. I think tonight when I go to bed, I'll listen to some his stand up to listen to him. But Jamie, I think people will know. But would you recommend not only this movie? But since you just watched 7 Voyages, are you going to go to Eye of the Tiger?
I am. And again, that I don't like most of the movies that we review. And we've reviewed old movies.
This is by far the oldest. I think these are second 70s movies. I feel like that Captain America sequel is either 79 or 80.
And that just tells you, right? So this is probably our oldest movie, and yet it's probably one of the best movies we reviewed. So, so absolutely, I would say, I mean, I don't think it matters the order you watch the movies in, because again, there's so many, like the different Sinbads. I don't think the stories are correlate, but just for the special effects, I mean, again, I can't speak for the Eye of the Tiger, but if it's anything like these two, I'm sure it's just as good. So absolutely, I would recommend watching this.
No, 100%. So good. And I'm so happy that obviously I want the actors and I want the writers to be able to settle with their strike and get paid what they deserve. But it is pretty cool that we're getting this opportunity to do this and to cover movies that some I'm sure we could probably, if we emailed every person top to bottom, cast and behind the scenes, we might get lucky, which we've done that for some movies and not gotten lucky. So no, this would be really cool. And just the tie for the next sequel that we're going to be covering, like in my little area of New Jersey where I live in Hunterdon County, there's this, it's called Rascals Vintage in Highbridge, New Jersey. That like years ago, somebody commissioned an artist in Fairfield, New Jersey to make a Falkor from the Neverending Story for Burning Man. And so it went out to Burning Man like 10, 15 years ago and came back. And it was sitting in this guy's garage, and he put it on like one of those free Facebook pages, free stuff. And the Rascals Vintage bought it, fixed it up a little bit, and I met it. And we took pictures.
Wait, so they put it on a site for free stuff, and the guy bought it?
No. Well, I'm saying they not bought it. They took it.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
What a gold mine that they,
Well, it is, but it takes up like a huge garage.
I was going to say it probably takes up your whole garage.
Yeah. So no.
So I'm sure like the wife probably loves it. They're like, "Hun, when are you getting rid of that thing?"
Hey, what if they didn't have a garage? It was just like in the living room. Like you had to sit in the Falkor's mouth to like watch TV,
okay. Or like you sit on its back, like in a movie. How great would that be?
That is true. But so Neverending Story 2, the next chapter. What's really cool about this movie is I remember the original and I remember the second one. But what's really wild, I never knew that so many characters were recast because the movie sat in like pre-production hell, the sequel, because the author didn't really like some of the characters in the first one, like the actors. So the second one has Jonathan Brandis. It's 6 years after the first one. So it should be pretty cool because I don't remember.
I never saw it. I
remember Jonathan Brandis being in it because I was a fan of his because I like sidekicks. Even though it's problematic, I love ladybugs. And
didn't he die? I think he died.
It's suicide.
Oh my
like
gosh!
Right after he was on Sequest with the guy from Jaws, Robert Shaw. What's the other guy's name? The main guy, the sheriff. I should know his
Roy
name.
Schneider.
Roy Schneider. Yeah. So on that, he was on that show. That show was on for a while too, and yeah, and he committed suicide.
What? How many? So we're doing the second one.
The second
Not the
one,
third
yeah.
one?
Never Ending Story 2, which is
Okay.
I love that. The Never Ending Story 2, the next chapter. And yeah.
Well, it's never
The
ending.
story never
so-
ends. It's never gonna end.
Okay.
So it should be pretty cool because it's just that it's a sequel that's 6 years afterwards, and the fact that they recast a lot of people. So I think it's right up our alley. So yeah. So that is your homework for next week. I have some cool interviews that Jamie lined up, so hopefully that comes through next week. That'd be pretty rad. And then we can right around Halloween. We're gonna have October. We have a real Friday the 13th, so it's gonna be pretty rad. And the way it's looking, we're gonna get to take our pick. So maybe we go the first time he dons the mask, or we go sackhead, potato sackhead. We'll see. We had a lot of options.
That's a good one
here.
too. No, I already have. I know which nightmare I'm gonna pick. So
Okay. Or we can do the Friday the 13th 2009 one version. It's really good, and we can see Danielle Panabaker again. And we loved her in Piranha 3 Double D. So yep. So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast, follow us on all social media at Sequels Only, and don't forget to share our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
good night.
Good night, guys.